గోవిందలాగా వస్తుంది. తెలిసింది. వాళ్ళందరూ అంటే ఏ డిగ్రీలో వస్తుందో తెలియదు నాకు. అన్నీ కొంచెం భయం తెచ్చేసి చెప్పండి. 800 800 ఆయన పెట్టండి. ఓకే భరత్ ఓకే కదా. కనురా ఏమైంది అర్థం
I now invite Ms. Amrita and Ms. Chandana of Week of Honors onto the stage to lead us in this prayerful song.
गीर्वाणी अक्षररूपिणी गीर्वाणी अम्ब अभिनयमोदिनी सर्वाणि अक्षररूपिणी आसरपुर निवासिनी जननी ललितकला परिपूर्ण विनोदिनी प्रसादित सुन्दर रूपिणी ज्ञान प्रसादित सुन्दर रूपिणी वीणावादिनी विद्वन्मनोन्मनी अक्षररूपिणी गीर्वाणी अम्ब अभिनयमोदिनी सर्वाणि अक्षररूपिणी गीर्वाणी काश्मीरे तु सरस्वती जननी कमलनिवासिनी तनयुनिरानी श्रीचक्रवासिनी श्रितजनपोषिणी श्रीचक्रवासिनी श्रितजनपोषिणी श्रीगायत्री मन्त्रयोगिनी अक्षररूपिणी गीर्वाणी अम्ब अभिनयमोदिनी सर्वाणि अक्षररूपिणी गीर्वाणी अम्ब अभिनयमोदिनी सर्वाणि अक्षररूपिणी गीर्वाणी अक्षररूपिणी गीर्वाणी
Amrita and Chandana for the soulful rendition. May the peace and unity invoked through this song sustain us throughout today's celebrations. May I now request Honorable Secretary SDGPS Sri Kishan Badruka ji to kindly address the gathering.
Of the media chief guest of today's Foundation Day function, governing council members, governing body members, our special invitees, faculty members, staff of Badruka Group of Institutions, our well-wishers and members of the media. I deem it an honor and privilege to extend warm welcome to you all on the 75th Foundation Day of the Saint Ghasiram Protection Badruka Educational Society and the Badruka College of Commerce and Arts. Today, as we celebrate this momentous occasion, we take this moment to reflect on our past, acknowledge our achievements, and look towards at an exciting future. Our journey, spanning 75 years, has been marked by steadfast commitment to knowledge, values, and progress. As we gather to celebrate 75th Foundation Day of our institution, we are not only marking a milestone, we are honoring a legacy. 75 years is a testament to sustained excellence, resilience, and enduring vision of the founders. Sri Raja Bankatlal Badruka was a great philanthropist who donated liberally to several charitable causes. He set up Badruka College of Commerce and Arts in 1950 in memory of his late grandfather Saint Gasiram Badruka and father Saint Gopikishan Badruka. The objective behind this initiative was to provide value-based, high-quality education at an affordable cost. This was done immediately, this vision came to his mind immediately after Hyderabad got independence in 1948. So he had to struggle for 2 years with the government to get the affiliation because in those days Usmania University did not have the rules to give affiliation to any private institute. So that rule was amended and we got the Mughal was the first affiliated college under Usmania University. He, with the courageous donation of 2.5 lakhs and unwavering belief in the power of education, established the Badruka College of Commerce and Arts in 1950. Thus, Badruka College of Commerce and Arts became the first affiliated college with Usmania University in the combined state of Andhra Pradesh. With this pioneering initiative, Raja Bankatlal Badruka etched his name into the annals of learning. His successor, Sri Harish Prasad Badruka, has developed Badruka Group into highly respected and reputed education group for the next 53 years. His vision, along with his principal life, uncompromising integrity, and outstanding administrative ability, has enabled the Badruka group to reinforce its eminent position as the topmost college in this part of the region. Under his leadership, the society established several constituent colleges, namely Bankatla Badruka College of Information Technology, Badruka College of Postgraduate Center, Badruka Junior College for Girls. Today, the society has 4,500 students studying. With the launch of the new Badruka School of Management last year, we have added yet another feather in the Badruka cap. The Badruka School of Management at Medchal was established from a bold aspiration to create a management institution that doesn't just follow trends but shapes them. The PDDM program of Badruka School of Management under AICT is poised to be hub of innovation, leadership, and purpose, where tradition meets the cutting edge of modern industry needs. We at the Badruka Group now are continuing the rich legacy of our founders to offer the students a very high quality education based on ethics and our value system. We continue to be the most preferred college for students and enjoy a very high reputation with the corporate firms for placements. In fact, this year we achieved the highest salary of 18.72 lakhs per annum for the B.Com annual student. Our alumni over the years have distinguished themselves by occupying superior positions in the corporate sector and government departments, global corporations, and contributing immensely towards nation building. I am very proud to say that whichever country you visit across the world, maybe 100 plus. You will find our alumni over there. We would like to express our deep sense of gratitude to Shri V.V.R. Reddy Garu for accepting our invitation to be the chief guest for today's ceremony and agreeing to deliver keynote address on this memorable occasion. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank all the current and former principals, directors, governing council members, governing board members, faculty members, staff, alumni, and students for their invaluable contribution to build the institute into a very respectable brand of high quality education. On this occasion, we renew our commitment to continue to provide value-based education to our students, to groom them into highly efficient and socially responsible citizens, to contribute towards nation building. I would request all of your continued support and guidance to make the Badruka to its next level of excellence. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your words of encouragement. With your support and guidance, we shall definitely try to achieve more and more accolades to the institution. Moving further, may I now call upon Ms. Sonal Ronak Shah, Assistant Professor of Commerce, BCCA, to introduce today's guest speaker, Dr. B.V.R. Mohan Reddy, sir, to all of us.
All. It is our great honor to welcome Dr. B.V.R. Mohan Reddy sir, a visionary technocrat, entrepreneur and education reformer. He is the founder and chairman of Scient, a global engineering and technology solutions company that has helped position India as a leader in engineering R&D services. A recipient of the Padma Shri, India's fourth highest civilian award, Sir has been recognized with numerous lifetime achievement awards, including the prestigious Golden Peacock Award at London from the Institute of Directors. He has authored a national bestseller titled Engineered in India From Dreams to Billion Dollar Science, which chronicles his entrepreneurial journey and vision for India's future. Committed to education and innovation, Sir established the BVR Mohan Reddy School of Innovation and Entrepreneurship at IIT Hyderabad, and through Science Foundation supports over 30 government schools and over 20,000 plus children every academic year across India. He is also founding director of T Hub, the largest startup incubation center in India. Sir is a member of Leadership Advisory Board at the University of Michigan College of Engineering, USA, and he also chairs Board of Governors at IIT Hyderabad, IIT Roorkee, ASCI, and several NITs. Sir has played a key role in advancing the National Education Policy 2020. We are privileged to have you here, sir. Requesting you to please address the gathering.
Respected Secretary Sri Sri Kishan Badruka, very respected fellow Padma awardee Sri Hanuman Chaudhary Garu, esteemed members of the governing council and governing body, principals, directors, faculty, staff, special invitees, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor for me to be here, to be a part of the celebration of 75 years of Badruka Society and the Badruka education institutions. An institution which we heard from Sri Krishan Badruka ji too in the last few minutes that has not only shaped students, but shaped citizens, leaders, and nation builders. Certainly, the family, the patriarch of the family, the rest of the family deserve a big round of applause tonight. I'm especially delighted to be here in the middle of you. Very rarely do I get an occasion to be at a meeting which has got majority of women in it. I'm a very strong believer. I'm a very strong believer that unless we have women participation, no society, no country, no association, no family will prosper. I'm very glad to see this. I like to see more of women power coming in, and unless that happens, we will not see prosperity. And I'll talk about it. I think if we truly believe in terms of Viksit Bharat by 2047, the participation of women has to get that number as close as 50%. So therefore, let me move on to the human cause with which the Badruka ji and his family created the society. It's all centered around one word called education. So for many of us who come from middle class, including me, education has been never an option. It's always been a passport for all of us for better lives. It certainly provided us dignity. It provided us mobility. It provided us identity. My own journey from being a student, a technologist, and now an entrepreneur was made possible only because of one thing, and that's the education I received. And teachers who instilled the right values. And I see all of them in front of me at great teachers. They taught me not only concepts, but they built character. Sri Krishna Badruka talked about values, and I talked a little more about it. And in today's age of rapid change, that grounding is more vital than ever before. Let me share a personal story of mine. I was in the first year of engineering, and the class was on structural analysis. And the professor was my revered guru called Professor Giri Rao. He came to teach us finite element analysis. And he said, today, I will not teach you engineering. I'll teach you something more important. And that was values. He went on to say, if you lose money, you will get it back. If you lose your health, it is difficult to get it back. But if you lose your values, you may never get them back. He concluded, the true value of a person is sum total of his or her values. Those words are etched in my mind strongly, and decades later, they still guide every decision that I make. That is enduring impact a great teacher has on every one of us. Not just on our careers, but on our character. Let me then move on and talk about where we are in the current times. I just decided to take up three things. One is the current technology disruptions. The second one is the geopolitics and the learning diversity. Moving on to the technical disruptions. I went to the best of engineering schools in this country way back in the 1970s. I went to IIT Kanpur. I graduated in 1974. IIT Kanpur in those good old days was considered to have the best computing center in the whole of India, catering to 2,500 students on the campus. The computer was housed in a room at least twice, if not three times, as large as this auditorium. And the power of the computer was It was catering to 2,500 students. But the power of the computer was less than what you have with you in your hands, in your bags, in your pockets, the smartphone. That's the revolution that we have seen over the period of last 50 years. Amazing turnaround that we see. And not only it was just to do with computers, we've also seen the same thing with communications. When I started my company 30 years back, we made offers to people. One line on perks used to be, you'll get a free phone at your home. And some of my foreign friends used to laugh it off, saying that his phone had Percocet. But we waited 7 years, 30 years back. Let's see, Mr. Hanuman Chaudhary, things changed all right. 7 years became shorter and shorter. To the extent that what we have here is, please tell me if any one of you don't have a cell phone with you right now. None of it. Be brave enough to put up your hands if you have 2 of them with you. He was brave enough, yes, but yes, there's some more to go by. But I guess some of us don't realize that some of the phones that we have also have 2 SIM cards inside. That's as big as 2 ones. That's just not the progress in terms of the availability of machines. But you should add to that the amount of connectivity that has created thereafter. I'm sure many of you are familiar. There are 7 billion people in this world, 7.4 billion or so. And 5 billion of them are now connected either through a smartphone or a cell phone, not so smart. And Metcalfe told us one thing, that it was popularly known as the Metcalfe's law. And the power of a network is the square of number of nodes on the network. So it's still very simple. If 2 friends are there, we talk to each other, there's knowledge being gained between 2 of us. We become 3 friends, 5 friends, the knowledge becomes not just 2 times, 3 times. It exponentially increases. So therefore, where are we right now? The power of that network is actually 5 billion times 5 billion. But equally important, doesn't stop there. We now have also things connected on the same network. It's in 2020, it was estimated that we had 15 billion things on the same network. I can start my car. I can set the air conditioning. I can ask my car to drive, not in India. If I'm in San Francisco, the car can come to my porch. I don't need the driver. So the result is that there is enormous amount of progress that has happened in communication. The power of this network that's happened. Added to that, what has happened is that it's not just the speed at which the data is being communicated. Equally important is the latency, as it's called. That is the time lag between when the data is generated and the data is being acted on. That's called latency. And where is the latency right now? It's less than 1 millisecond. People were talking about telemedicine, COVID times. Patient on one end, doctor on the other side, communicating with each other, telling you all about difficulties the patient had and doctor gave you the prescription. Whereas what we see right now is telesurgery. There is a digital twin of a patient which is in front of the doctor. The doctor is moving the stylus. It's just a knife on the patient's body, thousands of miles apart. And what we're seeing is the surgery is going on. Even if there's a bleed, you can do a cauterization online. And that's just because you could have a latency which is less than 1 millisecond. The third one, which we see as an enormous amount of shift that has happened in terms of the technology disruption, is all to do with sensors. God gave us these 5 senses. Ability to feel, ability to see, ability to hear, ability to smell, ability to taste. All those 5 the computers can do well. They can do better in many instances than us. There's evidence today to say that in terms of vision, the computers are seeing it 120% to 130% more efficient than us. You go to a doctor, they get a chest X-ray done for you. Thereafter, it looks against a bright light and says, oh yeah, your chest X-ray is very clean. but he doesn't still see a lesion that could probably aggravate itself a year from now. The computer sees much before the doctor. So therefore, these sensors are sensing everything and anything. They were ugly-looking large devices. They become small, they become tiny, they become cheap. Dime a dozen is what you might call it. That's what you can get them at this point of time. And so what are they doing? They're putting enormous amount of data as they sense. So that right now we're all actually concerned, scared about the amount of data that's being generated. Therefore, what's happening further because of this computer revolution, I said, miniaturization of computers, we're moving computer into the sensor now. That's edge computing. Roughly. So that it can do some processing locally and decide to send only the data, the rest of it onto the cloud. So you now thereafter, the fourth pillar that comes by is the fact that you have something called algorithms. I'm sure you have several data scientists here, data analysts here, and a very senior colleague of mine, Manisha, is also here. She knows much better than I do. So Manisha, pardon me if I make mistakes. Pardon me if I make mistakes. I have enormous amount of respect for you and your organization. So therefore, what will happen is that you have these algorithms which are running on the data, which are now making meaningful and real-time decisions. So what was it called? At one point of time, it was called information technology. Why was it called information technology? Information was gathered by technology, and thereafter it was presented to a human being, and the human being took decisions thereafter. That's how the information technology world works. So, I started working on computers when we used to have invoices being generated manually in one department. It was called sales department. And all that bundles of paper used to come to us to the EDP department. You need to punch cards. And with the punch cards, it's processed. You don't do that any longer. It is instantaneously being done. So the data is so instantaneous, I said less than millisecond. Lag is there. So the end result, what we're finding at this juncture, is that it's actually taking decisions. That's AI. There's the human intelligence, which is artificially tapped into it. An enormous amount of progress is happening. And what we're seeing is something which is very interesting. Is in the past, there used to be applications which used to take years to get developed. Is now down to months to come up. A good example, a favorite example of mine is just to do with AI itself. I don't know how much of you are familiar. The first attempt for AI was to do with speech recognition. I know how many of you use speech recognition on your smartphones itself. I stopped typing these days. It's primarily because it's perfect. So what was speech recognition? It took from 0 level efficiency of a humankind to get to 100% efficiency of human intelligence. It took 18 years. It's almost perfect now. I really get actually on top of that, there's AI algorithms which are running on top of it. So end result is even if there are mistakes that are there, it corrects it, auto-corrects itself. So what is the end result? Is that this information, this particular application called AI for speech recognition took 18 years for mankind. It started somewhere in 1996. It got perfected by 2014, around that time. 100% efficiency. You look at generative AI. Generative AI, which is content generation, content creation, it took just 18 months for them to perfect it. You can tell 4 sentences and say, write back 4 paragraphs. Like this, it comes back. You say, no, I don't like these 4 paragraphs. Make it 2 paragraphs. That comes to 2 paragraphs. I say, no, I just like 4 lines. Comes 4 lines. Doesn't even give you 1 minute of regret to say, why are you harassing my like this? So therefore, what's happening is technology has become a bit disruptive. It's not just AI. Let me change the things for a minute and move on to say it's true with many other technologies, whether it's to do with energy, whether it's to do with biotechnology, whether it's to do with manufacturing. Manufacturing equipment is primarily the one that is handling. So what we're seeing in a world that we live at this point in time is that the technology is reshaping every industry that we want. Every conceivable industry at this juncture is being reshaped. Look at my own company. Right now, I can give you examples. We do aircraft predictive analytics. It's called aircraft predictive analytics. Aircraft predictive, the sensors built into it. And before the aircraft comes and lands, the people on the ground know exactly how the aircraft will perform, even in a long haul flight for 10 hours. The complete data is being monitored, sensors are coming. Or you can take an example where we can see real-time diagnostics of human beings, healthcare devices, plenty of them, even the one which is about sugar patch was done by us. Real-time it does sugar monitoring for individuals. Or for that matter, if you look at right now recruitment, we're not recruiting people by interacting with them any longer. It's the AI bot which is running. So therefore, the world will change more as we go forward. So therefore, what it does mean to people like us, I join myself into your team because I'm also a teacher like you are. So therefore, what we feel is that the skills required are going to be far, far different. The skills that we're teaching at this point of time will have a shelf life which will shrink as we move forward. It's no longer true that one degree will take your life through. You have to require multiple degrees, multiple micro degrees all along the lifetime. That's the change that happens. Certainly, the second thing that I also see is all about the geopolitics. I'm sure every morning all of us have a small smile, but you have a big regret too. And people like us who do businesses all around the world, we have scared. The tariff war goes on. Every morning, what our dear friend in the US, the president of the US thinks about, he thinks that he can do a tweet and truth social media. And the result is that we are seeing that the world is getting fragmented. Fragmented and also is becoming very uncertain. There's more amount of regionalization that will come by. There's more amount of self-reliance that's coming by, driving that for each and every point of that. So countries like India also have to start thinking about being self-reliant as opposed to being dependent on others. If you look at the tariffs that are going around at this juncture, certainly they're disrupting all the supply chains tremendously. So unless you, therefore, you could get annihilated at some point of that. Please don't get too scared, but I'll share something with you. All of us use internet. All of us store our data on the cloud. And the cloud services are provided by people like Amazon Web Services, or it's Google Cloud, or it is Azure platform of Microsoft. Think for a moment. The President of the United States says, look, switch off all these. What's the sacrifice? The data is not clearly created. So the result is that self-reliance becomes extremely important. And certainly in the past, there used to be topics which were there for discussion on data sovereignty, data privacy, etc. But they become policy issues at this juncture. So the sum total of the story on geopolitics is that it is not by exception what we're seeing is happening. This is a shift that will happen in the global environment. Let me move on to my third topic that I wanted to touch upon before I went to the core. And the third one is the multi-generational challenge that all of us have in each field. We have three sets of students in my view. One set of student is a traditional student who respects structure, he has loyalty or he and has clear direction. The second set of students are the ones who are Gen Z learners, who seek flexibility, they want real-time feedback, they have purpose in life. But then the third generation, the third set, is the one which we all are seeing, which will make a future. I'm sure you're teaching. And that's the emerging Zen Alpha and Zen Beta. What's so unique about them? They were born in this digital first environment with global awareness, but shorter attention spans. I keep saying this often that if you can't engage the student, what the student does these days is brave enough. He'll take his mobile phone and start texting in front of you. And he's not so brave enough, he'll probably put it below the desk and start texting. Because there's so much of attention that he has to draw. His reels are there, his Instagrams are waiting for him or her. So the result is you've got to have a challenge with this 3 different groups, and each group is very unique and has its unique strength. But they also have distinct challenges in how do we motivate them, how do we get their attention span, and how do we engage them. And certainly, the other change that we're seeing at this point in time is also the hybrid learning mode. It's no more that you can sit in a classroom and teach them. I'll come back to a little more on education a little further down. But we see that it's hybrid is a way of teaching. Classrooms are all wired at this point of time in the IIT system. So if somebody wants to sit in their dorm and will listen to you, they have the option to do that too. You also have gig work models. There's AI enabled content. AI today is helping in terms of teaching and creating individual learning paths for each of the students. You don't need to be teaching just the first benchers. We can teach everybody now because the student has an individual learning path. And certainly what we see is, therefore, technology is, at this point in time, is not all about delivering lectures. It's about managing complexity and becoming more creative. This brings me to the essential theme: how do we ensure education system keeps pace with the contemporary world? In the new era, we must move from silos to system thinking. That's one thing that all of us have to embrace. We must embrace the unity of knowledge, as I keep calling it, connecting the science with society, data with design, and engineering with empathy. So it's not engineering, it does not mean it's math and science. It requires a lot more beyond math and science, because what do engineers create? They create products for humanity. So to understand the human beings, you need to understand society, the social issues. You create products which are medical devices. You need to understand the biology of the people. So therefore, building smart cities is not just about sensors and software. It's about understanding urban behavior, environmental impact, ethical data use, and citizens' well-being. This is why we need interdisciplinary learning, where engineers learn philosophy, commerce students learn climate science, and management graduates understand behavioral psychology. I urge our MBA programs to start looking at these options. So, also, therefore, we see that education has also mirrored itself based on this change. Some of you may be very familiar with this, but let me quickly go through it. Education went through also as industrial revolutions of 4 went through. There's also, I call it 4 revolutions of education. Education 1.0 was this teacher-centric knowledge, was teacher-centric, and knowledge was limited and centralized. The Gurukul system. I did not take an eyelid off my teacher when they were teaching me, because if I took eyelid off or probably switched off my hearing, I would miss knowledge from him or her. I still recall my day in IIT Kanpur itself. I had the urge to learn. I went to the library to go and borrow a book. Book was not found. The librarian had a smile in her face and told me that, Mohan, the book has gone out right now. And she would have a bigger smile thereafter and say, you won't get it after 2 weeks. There are 2 more people in the queue. So that was the waiting time we had in terms of learning. But then the printing and documentation came, democratized learning to a great extent. Books became new teachers to a certain extent, though I gave you the example that was not very easy. But then education 3.0 was TV and radio also being used for education, for for mass communication, but it was still one way in which the communication was done. But what do we see today as education? It's called Education 4.0. It is student-centric, it's experiential, and it is interactive. Please remember these three words. It has to be student-centric, it has to be experiential, and finally, it has to be interactive. You can't have one-way monologues that will not interest the student. Unless you start thinking about the student, it's not any longer teacher-centric learning. That was 1.0, when knowledge was limited to one individual, one body, whereas it's universal at this point of time, all around the world. Learners today use simulations, AI-powered tools, collaboration with digital platforms to construct their own learning journeys. In this world, the teacher is no longer the sole source of knowledge, but an architect of learning experiences. They all have to become mentors. They have to become guides, because the content is available in plenty. You don't need to create any more content at this point of time. So, in this rapidly changing context, what does it take to be a great teacher? So that's what I put the headline as the three C's: curiosity, courage, and commitment. Let me propose a simple but powerful framework, which I call it as the three C's of great teaching: curiosity, courage, and commitment. What is curiosity to me? Curiosity is the beginning of all innovation. Great teachers do not just answer questions. They provoke them. They create space for wonder. A student asking why is the best indication of engagement. But trust me, in India, we feel asking why is questioning the teacher, questioning the ability of the teacher. I have a son who was doing his, went to do his undergrad. This is a story which is at least 25 years old. But a little old, yeah, 25 years old. Used to be in a school here, Hyderabad Public School, HBS. And he went to an undergrad program in Kurd. Came for his first grade in the Christmas. And I asked him, give me one thing that you see so different from what it is in India. And he said, my ability to stand and ask a question. He said, the thing, even peer group itself in India thinks if you ask question, you're a dumb guy. You're not understanding. The rest of the people understand what the teacher is teaching. Or the teacher thinks that this guy is trying to ask me a question, which is so tricky that probably the student is challenging me. That's what the studies have shown. But the fact is, if only when the student asks questions, it only reflects to me that he or she is engaged with you. Whether it's a commerce student exploring how AI affects financial audits, or a management student designing inclusive business models, curiosity drives deeper understanding. We must shift from passive lectures to active inquiry, to real-world problems, field immersion, and student-led exploration. Ask your student, if you had all the resources in the world, what problem would you solve? The answer will show you what matters most for them. Curious minds become confident professionals and thoughtful citizens. Go on to my second one, courage. Courage is the engine that turns intention into transformation. Today's teachers need courage to do. One is to move from the safety of textbooks to open-ended discussions. Experiment with new tools, AI, virtual labs, open courseware. Be transparent with students, especially when you do not have all the answers. Let them learn from each other too. At several institutions, faculty are creating content with students. We're seeing that in the Western world, designing courses in response to real-world events. This requires openness, but it encourages meaningful engagement with the students. We must also have a courage to address uncomfortable questions. Number one, how do we ensure inclusivity in our classrooms? How do we teach ethics along AI? How do we assess creativity and just not competence? The classroom today must prepare students for a world of ambiguity and complexity, and that takes courage from the teachers first. So the second one is courage. Let me move on to the final one. It's the commitment that makes that makes teaching a calling. It's just not a profession. Technology can deliver content, but it cannot deliver care. We saw during pandemic, teachers reinvented themselves overnight, took online platforms, called struggling students, stayed up recording lessons. That is commitment in action. Commitment is in the profession who, sorry, commitment is the professor who mentors a first generation learner after the class, a faculty member who learns about ESG or data ethics because the world demands it. The teacher who says not for teacher who stays not for payback but for impact. Institutions like Badruka have sustained themselves for 75 years because of quiet, relentless, value-driven commitment. And all of you have the commitment and it's all your fun. Therefore, in conclusion, let me get down to let's take the moment to recognize the deeper turf. What has education done to us? Actually, has been responsible for building modern India. It gave a ladder of aspirations, lifting families from poverty to prosperity. It created social mobility and environmental empowerment. It produced talent that led IT revolution. Our scientific achievements, our space exploration, and our leadership in global enterprises, including Microsoft and Google. Education powered our revolutions. The Green Revolution secured food supply for all of us. The White Revolution made India the largest milk producer. The Blue Revolution enhanced our fisheries and agriculture. The Digital Revolution put India on the global technology maps. These revolutions were just not economic, they were educational triumphs in my view. They were the outcomes of great teaching and great institutions. So let me come down to Badruka before I close. Before we look forward, let's honor the journey so far of Badruka. For 75 years, Badruka Education Society and the institution have stood for excellence, ethics, and equity. My brother, incidentally, Badruka was a student of Badruka College. You have produced generations of professionals in commerce, management, law, and beyond, who have served the society with knowledge and humility. You have embraced change while staying rooted in your mission. You have empowered students from diverse backgrounds. You have gone so quietly, you have done all this very quietly with dignity and purpose. To everyone associated with Badruka on this 75th celebration of Foundation Day, thank you for being such a force for good. Let me briefly look at the next 25 years of India. As Badruka steps into next 25 years, it does so in alignment with India's greatest movement of opportunity. We're building Viksit Bharat 2047, a developed, confident, and sustainable India or Bharat. We're pursuing Atmanirbhar Bharat, a self-reliant India in technology, defense, healthcare, innovation. We're investing in young minds, biggest asset any nation can have. Badruka has the credibility, capability, and commitment to play a key role in this transformation. By nurturing future-ready, value-driven, and socially responsible graduates, you will be helping build not just careers, but future of India. Let us step into the future with resolve, spark curiosity in every student, show courage to embrace change and complexity, live commitment with art and humility. In doing so, we do not teach lessons, but we change lives. To Badruka leaders, faculty, alumni, and the students who are here too, my heartfelt congratulations. Your past has been inspiring, your future will be even more impactful. Thank you very much for giving me the privilege.
Thank you, sir. I request all the audience to please give a standing ovation to our guest speaker for sharing his words of appreciation. Thank you, sir. We are grateful to you, sir. Thank you for sharing on the various aspects about your experiences and highlighting on the technical changes. Moreover, the power of network and also the education system from 1.0 to 2.0, and also today's concept of curiosity, courage, and commitment. Proceeding further, now I take the privilege to call upon our Director General, Professor S. Aguramakrishna sir, to kindly felicitate our guest for today. I request our Principal, Dr. B. Mohan Kumar sir, to kindly join us for the felicitation. I request our Secretary sir to kindly felicitate today's guest. Thank you, sir, for sharing your insights, which really inspire us to dream big, innovate mindfully, and serve society meaningfully. We request our dignitaries to kindly come forward to felicitate Sri Hanuman Chaudhary, sir, Padma Shri awardee.
I want to put a question to the audience. Is there an American ocean? Is there an American ocean? Please answer. Is there a Russian ocean? No. Chinese ocean? Yes. What is it? In the year 56 AD, the great Roman historian said India is becoming the sink, sink of the world's gold. 76 AD. Why was India becoming the sink of the world's gold? We were the greatest trading nation, exporting and having the largest share of the world trade. Until 1707, that was the year when Aurangzeb died. Until 1707, 25% of the world's trade is India share. 25%. And China's was also 25%. Today, how much is it? Anybody get 4%. 25% in 1707, along with China also 25%, And when we got independence, it was about 1.4%. So why is it? It is due to commerce, trade, the brain. The greatest power, the greatest resource is the brain resource. That was India. We shall be so hereafterwards. My dear 2047, Vikasit Bharat, not Virajita Bharat, not Virajita Bharat, but Vikasita Bharat. The architect for that should be you, the College of Commerce. It is commerce, it is trade that brings greatest wealth to the nation. Trade and commerce. Dhanyavad.
Thank you, sir. Every time we hear to you, we learn something new, sir.
Reddy. College education, he got wonderful jobs. Wonderful jobs. And greatest appreciation from those employers. He didn't want to be an employer. An employee. He wanted to be an employee. An employer. And to build up the prosperity of the nation, use the brain power of Indians, and then dominate the entire world. So that's what we have to look forward to. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
నేషనల్ అంతం డౌన్లోడ్ చేయాలి యూట్యూబ్ న్యూ ట్యాబ్ ఓపెన్ కదా న్యూ ట్యాబ్ ఓపెన్ యూట్యూబ్ అలా ఇది కూడా తెలుగే అలా
I now request Director General Professor S. Abhiramakrishna sir to kindly propose a vote of thanks for today.
Before I propose the vote of thanks, with the permission of Mohan Reddy Garu, are there any questions somebody would like to ask? Anybody? Just we'll spend minutes if you have questions. Yeah, can we pass on the mic?
It was a wonderful information you gave, sir. Very enriching and experienced. I would like to tell my view, which I request to put you through. That is, why not we have, when we are talking about historical informations which is happening, and now we have to change to a next level, fourth level of technology. The classroom's infrastructure also should be built upon. Then only lecturers can deliver in that fashion. Thank you, sir.
Very good observation. I don't have any disputes on it. I struggle at this point in time. I work very hard to convince people that if this Viksit Bharat of 2047 has to be reality, Certainly, I think where we need to spend more money is in education and R&D. Without those two things, it won't become possible. We're moving the needle little, but I think we'll see it through very soon.
I want Badruka to lead.
Sure.
In the sense that what is going to be the future of the teachers in light of the AI era? Are we going to blend with AI, or AI is going to replace us, or
Okay,
how do you foresee?
sure. Here is the headline here. AI will never replace a human being. AI, AI is a tool. AI will make the human beings a lot more productive. That's what it does. It's a tool for all of us. So it's a question of how well do you exploit the tool, whether it's a teacher, it's an engineer, it's a scientist, it's a lawyer, every profession. You can't imagine the type of applications we are seeing. We couldn't even imagine at one point of time are now all realities. And they become more reality as time goes by. So don't get overly worried about the AI stealing jobs, because it is becoming making people more productive. The amount of effort that's required to do a particular task is coming down. For instance, take the case of design an aircraft engine. With the AI tools that we have at this point of time, it takes 35% less amount of time. But then, as a result of that, what is happening is number of people deployed are fewer. But there's a next engine and the next engine. There's so many newer applications that are coming by. So therefore, number of people on a project could come down, but number of projects will increase. That will be true with every industry. That is good. So but the other key thing is that more amount of learning is required in this changed world. So the teacher will become more important as we go along. But you have to keep pace with the changing times.
Actually, the But there is a research saying in the next maybe couple of decades, there would be maybe hardly 50 institutions in the whole world because of the digital era or whatever. More focus or more importance is given to the entrepreneurship, innovation. As an innovator and entrepreneur, you have already proven that you are far and advanced or far grown up than just employees. And your message to the younger generation is to become employer. So can you just throw some light to how to become a successful entrepreneur, how to start the journey, and you have been helping on innovation and entrepreneurship. That's the request from my side.
Briefly answer this question for you. And I think good question that you raised. Entrepreneurship requirement imperatives at this point of time would have been more serious than what we have today. If you look at India, we're talking about Viksit Bharat on one side. We also will talk about demographic dividend on one other side, which means that majority of the population in this nation are in the working age group of 16 years to 62 years. And the average age is this nation anyway is at 27 years. But here is the catch associated with it, is that as a result of this demographic dividend, we put 1 million people into job market every month. Or it's 10 million people or 1 crore of people approximately every year into the job market. And there's enough of evidence at this point in time to say that new net jobs that get created in any country is not by existing large companies. They get created only by small companies. Small companies would mean startups trying into small, micro, small, medium enterprises. So there's tremendous amount of need in creating startups or entrepreneurship. So therefore, then that is absolutely clearly laid out. And how we become an entrepreneur is that I keep saying that ability to have the curious mind, to go and find a real problem that requires a solution. And you find a unique solution to that problem which cannot be by others very quickly. It has to be unique because everybody else copies. Then it's not something which is going to be lasting longer. And what we are seeing at this point of time is also deep technology. Your ability to engross yourself into technology and use the best of technologies, is you need to have a lead time of 2 years before somebody else copies. So therefore, I think its key thing is the environment is very rich. I was at an event this morning at South, for instance, the largest incubation center in this country. They have as many as 3,000 seats in the building, and 3,000 youngsters trying to become entrepreneurs. So that momentum is there, but how to become entrepreneur is making sure that we bring that curiosity into people and push them very hard to say, take chances. If you fail, it doesn't mean you're a loser. It only means that you will learn. I think there are a number of ingredients that will come in making sure that people become more entrepreneurial-driven minds that they have.
More questions?
Good evening, sir.
Yes.
Just now only sir told one point. If Trump says no for our cloud services, anyhow in our Indian also we have different types of clouds are there. Why many programmers or software engineers are not using those clouds? We have AWS and Google. Now still we are also using the same things. Sir. Why we have like the Digibox, one cloud is there and one more India cloud is there. Why many programmers are not using those clouds?
The reason for that is that the amount of capacity that's required by our engineers and our businesses far outweighs what we have as a capacity. We're not even, I believe, catering to anything more than 10% of India's requirement with local cloud. And you might say, Mr. Reddy, what is the problem? You set it up, why don't we set it up tomorrow? No, that's where I think the challenge is that there is even chips for that matter. So NVIDIA's chips are required, GPUs are required, EPUs are required. So the result is capacity building becomes a problem. Yes, it's not capacity building, these server farms as they're called, they're also very intense in terms of energy consumption. They're like gas guzzlers, we call them. So therefore, power requirement, money requirement, capacity building, chips, etc. So I think people recognize it, not that they're smart with the exciting thing. If you look at smartness of people inside the school, I'll be the dumbest guy, most of you are smarter than me. And I always think so. Everybody's smarter than me. And there are other smart people who are thinking about how to solve this problem. But the problem is what I just flagged, saying that this is a possibility that can happen.
Yes.
Yes.
It was a very good speech, sir. My question is, with the growing data connectivity, how well are the companies taking care of the ESGs? Because we have the Amazon data center being established now in Hyderabad, and we have the record that Amazon is actually, the climatic conditions will be worsening with more number of data centers. So we'll very soon have it here in Hyderabad also. So how is the government taking care? How are we planning to towards the future to handle such situation?
A good question, madam. But I want to assure you that the corporates in India are becoming much more responsible than what they were in the past. Should I like to call out Infosys for that matter? They're all right now net neutral, whether it is to do with water or wastewater. All these, and the number of parameters in which ESGs are measured. And it's now become mandatory for us also to report in our balance sheets. There's a chapter on ESG. So the awareness levels are very high. Actually, I don't feel nervous at all about ESG in India. I'm more nervous about the Western world. The way in which they don't care about it. Today, if you look at the whole of Europe, the coal is bad. And whereas if you look at India, 95% of the energy capacity that was created last year was all solar or wind. So they can't be more conscious country than India. So I think, we are worried we should take more action on that front. But for sure, I think that's not a great worry for us at this point.
AR and VR technology, augmented reality, right? So now you, but here the change in this student and teacher dynamics.
So we can't anyway stop technology from being pervasive. AR, VR has come to stay, AI has come to stay. The teacher has to adjust to this new environment. As I said, if the teacher still says, my role of teacher was to teach people and I will just pass on knowledge, the student is not interested in that knowledge any longer because there are a number of millions of other sources to which that knowledge or the content or the information can be gained by them. So long as the teacher can tell the student what's the best way of learning. If you want to look at solid mechanics, which is the best author, which is the best video that's available. And then at the end of it, not that the student will not have any question. The questions should be answered by the teacher. That's the new role that the teacher will have. Not just disseminating information, no more of that. I think that's almost coming to a grinding halt because you said screen and VR, that's what it is. So I think what teachers have to definitely change the roles, like it's happening in the corporate world. We are changing our roles, and everyone, that's what's happening. If they don't change the roles, obviously there's going to be challenges ahead of us. So the key thing is change is constant, and let's be a part of the change.
Thank you very much. So it is good afternoon, good evening, friends. It is an honor and a privilege for me to propose the vote of thanks on this momentous occasion, the 75th Foundation Day of our esteemed institutions. Let me begin by expressing our deepest gratitude to Dr. BVR Mohan Reddy Garu. Yeah, you can clap for him for so readily accepting our invitation and gracing us as the chief guest today. Sir, your inspiring talk on the 3 C's of teaching, curiosity, courage, and commitment, was really thought-provoking. While curiosity starts the journey of excellence and courage drives transformation, commitment sustains it. Teaching, as you said, is not a job, it is a calling, one that demands relentless dedication to the holistic development of learners. Great teachers invest not just on their time, but their heart, soul, and energy. Sir, use the word care and caring in nurturing the potential of each student. It feels wonderfully symbolic that in 2021, as we emerge from the challenges of pandemic, we had a hybrid version of our 72nd Foundation Day, where sir, you, along with Hanuman Chaudhary Garu, another Padma Shri awardee, Dr. Badruka Reddy Garu, Padma Bhushan awardee, of Shanta Biotech, addressed us on Education 4.0. And today, sir, as we mark our platinum jubilee, your focus on teachers as the foundation of Education 4.0 completes a very powerful circle. We are deeply grateful for your connectedness with us. A special note of thanks to Dr. Hanuman Chaudhary Garu for his unwavering support and for Dr. Mohan Reddy Garu's presence here today. Thank you, sir. I also extend our heartfelt appreciation to Dr. Mohan Kumar sir, Principal BCCA, and the entire BCCA team for conceptualizing and seamlessly executing today's program. Your dedication truly made this day memorable. To all our principals and directors of our constituent colleges, unit heads, and their teams, thank you for being enthusiastic support and tireless coordination behind the scenes. A big thank you to our management, governing council, and governing body, and to all our special invitees for your esteemed presence and constant encouragement. It adds tremendous value to every milestone we celebrate. A round of applause is due to the students of BCCA for their mesmerizing invitation song and the invitation dance this afternoon. You not only set the tone for today's celebration, but also reminded us of the rich cultural spirit that defines our institutions. Our sincere thanks to the administrative staff and technical team who meticulously planning and arrangement ensured the success of this event. And of course, friends, to all of you, our appreciation as well as to the press and media for covering today's celebration and helping us share this joy with the larger community. As we celebrate the 75 glorious years, let us also look ahead with the same curiosity, courage, and commitment that Dr. Mohan Reddy Garu spoke about so passionately. So once again, thank you very much, and over to the
Sir, may I now request all of you to kindly rise for the national anthem as we come to the session. I request all our esteemed guests, dignitaries, faculty members, family members, staff, and all the members present here to kindly join for the high tea.
You have provided a list of people and a seemingly unrelated question in these 5 minutes.
हाँ हाँ बंद कर दे।